Hello dear students, how are you? Hoping you all are safe and healthy at your homes and eagerly waiting for our video. I welcome you in our social science class for ninth grade. We shall begin with our book India and the Contemporary World Part 1. Let's start with chapter number 3, Nazism and the Rise of Hitler. Students, this chapter will be covered in two parts. This is the video of part 1. I assure you that it will be very interesting and informative to you and bring smile on your faces. Students, these two pictures presented here are an introduction to your book and the study material it consists. This chapter consists the topic of the rise of Hitler and the politics of Nazism, the children and women in Nazi Germany, schools and concentration camps. It further highlights the facts related to Nazism and how they denied various minorities a right to live, anti-Jewish feelings, battle against democracies and socialism. But in this part, we will study only the political transformations of Germany from monarchy to democracy, republic, that is, the birth of the Weimar Republic, the effect of the world wars, political radicalism and economic crises, the years of depression, Hitler's rise to power, the destructions of democracy, reconstructions of Germany under Hitler and the Nazi rule. Students, you might have heard people using the word Hitler for anybody who cruel and heartless. Hitler become a symbol of brutality and harshness. Did somebody so inhuman actually exist in the history of mankind? Was he born with such a cruel personality, or his circumstances made him so? So, dear students, whenever we talk about somebody's personality traits, we always have an ideology behind it. So, what could have been the ideology behind Hitler's personality? Let's find out. A little 11-year-old German boy called Helmut. In the spring of 1945, he was lying in bed when he overheard his parents discussing something in serious tones. His father, a prominent physician, deliberated with his wife whether the time had come to kill the entire family or if he should commit suicide alone. His father spoke about his fear of revenge, saying, "Now the Allies will do to us what we did to the crippled and Jewish." Students, next day his father committed suicide in his office. In May 1945, Germany surrendered to Allies. Anticipating what was coming, Hitler, his propaganda minister Goebbels, and his entire family committed suicide collectively in his Berlin bunker in April. Now, there must be some question in your mind also, like why his father and other Nazi leaders were committed suicide. What happened with the crippled and Jews? And who were Nazi and Nazism? And who were allies? Let's try to find out the answer of these questions. Students, to answer of these questions, one should have to go in the background of the history of Europe approx 30 years back. In the early years of 20th century fought the First World War, 1914 to 1918. Yes, students, you are going to get the answer of the question, who were allies? It was a time of imperialism and colonizations when the countries of Europe were divided into two powerful blocs or group. The first is the Allied powers and the second is the Central powers. France, Great Britain, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan and United States of America were the member of the Allied powers, and Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire were the members of the group, the Central powers. All joined the war enthusiastically hoping to gain from a quick victory. Little did they realize that the war would stretch on, eventually draining Europe of all its resources. Germany made initial gains by occupying France and Belgium. However, the Allies, strengthened by the US entry in 1917, won, defeating Germany and the Central Powers in November 1918. The defeat of Imperial Germany and the abdication of the Emperor gave an opportunity to parliamentary parties to recast Germany polity. A National Assembly met at Weimar and established a democratic constitution with a federal structure. Students, do you know what is the federal structure? A federal system of government is one that divides the powers of government between the national or federal government and state and local governments. A German National Assembly gathered in the town of Weimar in the state of Thuringia after the 19 January 1919 federal elections in order to write a constitution of Reich. The nation was to be democratic federal republic governed by a president and parliament. Deputies were now elected to the German parliament or Reichstag on the basis of equal and universal votes cast by all adults including women. Now in Germany, government system was changed from monarchy to republic, known as Weimar Republic. This republic, however, was not received well by its own people, largely because of the terms it was forced to accept after Germany's defeat at the end of the First World War. The peace treaty at Versailles with the Allies was a harsh and humiliating peace. Germany lost its overseas colonies, a tenth of its population, 13% of its territories, 75% of its iron and 26% of its coal to France, Poland, Denmark and Lithuania. The Allied powers demilitarized Germany to weaken its power. The war guilt clause held Germany responsible for the war and damages the Allied countries suffered. Germany was forced to pay compensation amounting to 6 billion pounds. The Allied armies also occupied the resource-rich Rhineland for much of the 1920s. Many Germans held the new Weimar Republic responsible for not only the defeat in the war but the disgrace at Versailles. Students, now discuss what were the effects of First World War on Europe and Germany. The war had a devastating impact on the entire continent Europe, both psychologically and financially. From a continent of creditors, Europe turned into one of debtors. Unfortunately, in case of Germany, where the infant Weimar Republic was being made to pay for the sins of the old empire, the Republic carried the burden of war guilt and national humiliation and was financially crippled by being forced to pay compensation. Those who supported the Weimar Republic, mainly socialists, Catholics and Democrats, became easy targets of attack in the conservative nationalist circles. They were mockingly called the November criminals. Students, do you know why were they being called the November criminals? The nickname November criminals was given to the German politicians who negotiated and signed the armistice which ended World War I in November of 1918. The November criminals were named so by German political opponents who thought the German army had enough strength to continue and that surrendering was a betrayal, or many of the November criminals were a part of the early resistance members who eventually spearheaded the German revolutions of 1918-1919, several of which went to serve as heads of the Weimar Republic, which would serve as the basis for the post-war German reconstructions in the year to come. Students, this mindset of German nationalists had a major impact on the political developments of the early 1930s. As we will read further, the First World War left a deep imprint on European society and polity, especially in German. Soldiers came to be placed above civilian politicians and publicists, laid great stress on the need for men to be aggressive, strong and masculine. The media glorified trench life. The truth, however, was that soldiers lived miserable life in these trenches, trapped with rats, feeding on corpses. They faced poisonous gas and enemy shellings and witnessed their ranks reduce rapidly. Aggressive war propaganda and national honor occupied center stage in the public sphere, while popular support grew for conservative dictatorships that had recently come into being. Democracy was indeed a young and fragile idea which could not survive the instabilities of interwar Europe. Now we will discuss the political radicalism and economic crisis. Students, the birth of the Weimar Republic coincided with the revolutionary uprising of the Spartist League on the pattern of the Bolshevik revolutions in Russia. Soviets of workers and sailors were established in many cities. The political atmosphere in Berlin was changed with demands of Soviet-style governance. Those opposed to this, such as the Socialists, Democrats and Catholics, met in Weimar to give shape to the Democratic Republic. The Weimar Republic crushed the uprising with the help of a war veterans organizations called Free Corps. The anguished Spartacist later founded the Communist Party of Germany. Communist and Socialist henceforth became irreconcilable enemies and could not make common cause against Hitler. Both revolutionaries and militant nationalists craved for radical solutions. Political radicalization was only heightened by the economic crisis in 1923. Germany had fought the war largely on loans and had to pay war reparations in gold. Students, this depleted gold reserves at a time resources were scarce. In 1923, Germany refused to pay and the French occupied its leading industrial area, Ruhr, to claim their coal. Germany retaliated with passive resistance and printed paper currency recklessly. With too much printed money in circulation, the value of the German mark fell. In April, the US dollar was equal to 24,000 marks. In July, 3,53,000 marks. In August, 46,21,000 marks, and at 9 crore 88 lakh 60,000 marks by December. The figure had run into trillions. As the value of the mark collapsed, prices of goods soared. The image of Germans carrying cartloads of currency notes to buy a loaf of bread was widely publicized, evoking worldwide sympathy. This crisis came to be known as hyperinflations. Hyperinflation is a situation when prices rise phenomenally high. Eventually, the Americans intervened and bailed Germany out of the crisis by introducing the Davos Plan, which revoked the terms of reparations to ease the financial burden of Germans. Now, we will discuss the economic conditions of Europe between 1920 to 1930. These were the conditions of economic depressions. The years of depressions. The years between 1924 and 1928 saw some stability, but like the building built on sand. German investments and industrial recovery were totally dependent on short-term loans, largely from the USA. This support was withdrawn when the Wall Street exchange crashed in 1929. Students, do you know what Wall Street exchange is? Wall Street is a street located in the lower Manhattan section of New York City that is the home of the New York Stock Exchange, or NYSE, an umbrella term to describe the financial markets and the companies that trade publicly on exchanges throughout the United States. Fearing a fall in prices, people made frantic efforts to sell their shares. On one single day, 24 October, 13 million shares were sold. This was the start of the Great Economic Depression. Over the next 3 years, between 1929 and 1932, the national income of the USA fell by half. Factories shut down, exports fell, farmers were badly hit, and speculators withdraw their money from the market. The effect of these recessions in the US economy were felt worldwide. As we know, the German economy was dependent on US investment. Now the investors were turned back and the German economy collapsed by the economic crisis. By 1932, industrial production was reduced to 40% of the 1929 level. Workers lost their jobs or were paid reduced wages. The number of unemployed touches an unprecedented 6 million. On the streets of Germany, you could see men with placards around their necks saying, "Willing to do any work." Unemployed youths played cards or simply sat at street corners or desperately queued up at the local employment exchange. As job disappeared, the youth took to criminal activities and total despair became commonplace. The economic crisis created deep criminal activity. The economic crisis created deep anxiety and fear in people. The middle classes, especially salaried employees and pensioners, saw their saving diminish when the currency lost its value. Small businessmen, the self-employed and retailers suffered as their businesses got ruined. These sections of society were filled with the fear of proletarianization and anxiety of being reduced to the rank of the working class, or worse still, the unemployed. Only organized workers could manage to keep their heads above water, but unemployment weakened their bargaining power. The large mass of peasantry was affected by a sharp fall in agricultural prices, and women unable to fill their children's stomachs were filled with a sense of despair. Students, there were some political shortcomings in the Weimar Constitution. Due to these two, the Weimar Republic was fragile. Let's know some of these. The Weimar Constitution had some inherent defects which made it unstable and vulnerable to dictatorship. One was proportional representation. This made achieving a majority by any one party a near impossible task, leading to a rule by coalitions. Another defect was Article 48, which gave the President the powers to impose emergency, suspend civil rights, and rule by decree. Within its short life, the Weimar Republic saw 20 different cabinets lasting on an average 239 days and a liberal use of Article 48. Yet the crisis could not be managed. People lost confidence in the democratic parliamentary system, which seemed to offer no solutions. Students, these were the conditions Hitler and his party was closely watching the situations. Students, very soon you will get our next video in which we will discuss the remaining part of this chapter. Let me take leave now. Thanks for watching this video carefully from the beginning to end. Stay fit and healthy.